tuned for today's episode of Breaking the Biz, an informative podcast where we dive into the world of entertainment by interviewing seasoned professionals who have made their mark in the industry. Gain invaluable insights as they share their personal journeys, offering advice on navigating the dynamic landscape of the entertainment industry. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, filmmaker, author, animator, or any creative soul, tune in for expert career guidance, insider tips, and first-hand accounts on breaking into the entertainment industry. Get ready to unlock the secrets behind successful careers and fuel your own passion for the limelight. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to our channels for more great conversations.
Greetings from Breaking the Biz, brought to you by Yes I Can Unity Through Music and Education. I'm William Felber, your navigator through the intriguing universe of the entertainment industry, as revealed by the visionaries and creators who bring it to life. Stay tuned as we delve into diverse insights from the forefront of entertainment, hearing from pioneers, creators, and agents of change. Prepare for a journey filled with tales of innovation, resilience, and the undying quest for artistic brilliance.
Well, wow. Thank you, everyone, for joining Breaking the Biz podcast. Today, we have a guest speaker who's awesome. Her name is Candice Belton. Let me share a little bit about Candice, then we'll get some time to Candice Belton is a visionary force in the realm of live events and music festivals, boasting a rich tapestry of experience spanning nearly a decade. From orchestrating seamless venue management to commanding the intricate dance of front of house and back of house logistics, her expertise knows no bounds. With an unwavering belief in the mantra, artists support artists, Candice has woven a career steeped in that very ethos. As an accomplished artist in her own right, she understands the heartbeat of creation and channels the understanding to manifest her clients' visions. Candice is a masterful curator of the art direction, possessing an innate ability to source the perfect space for events and forging connections that breathe life into ambitions. Her portfolio reads like a whole who's who of industry giants. Waserman Media, Sprint, Disney, Meta, Fortress, Bulldog DM, YouTube, and Patreon have all benefited from her touch. Also a published poet and a muse to many, Candice is a beacon for local and international artists, a champion of their dreams and visions. Her collaborations span genres and mediums, a testament to her boundless creativity. With a track record that glistens with successful networking, adept problem solving, and spellbinding performances, Candice Belton is a true luminary. Her compass is authenticity, seeking opportunities that resonate with her soul, a journey defined by originality and flair. Candice, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for such a lovely introduction, Agent. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. And you know, since we're talking about introductions, maybe we can kind of share a little bit and start at somewhat of the beginning. And maybe you can share with us briefly a little bit about you and your journey in this career so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for myself, initially starting, I definitely did not have a traditional path. Moved around a lot throughout my entire childhood and adolescence. And initially, by the time I was 14 or 15, I actually was accepted and did a computer science program at UCI. Complete opposite of anything imagined in events or festivals. You know, I never went to parties. I never got even to a show. I promise you, funny enough, as a kid, I think my first introduction to festivals would have been like the Sawdust Art Festival out in Laguna as a child. But it wasn't really a living memory, you know. So I moved out early, was living on my own at 17. The time I went into the clinical field, I used to work at Dr. Amon's neuroscience facility until ultimately I decided doctors don't make great businessmen. And I think I might want to do something more creative. So I think about 20 years old or so, some of my near friends and, you know, very dear to me, had finally convinced me to join them at my first ever. It was one of those weekend camp out desert festivals, and pretty much borderline renegade. I think for our wristbands, we gave out pieces of yarn on people's wrists, real old school. We dropped the latitude, longitude, maybe the day before. You had to go out on the back desert roads and find the cone, and maybe you would find us. So that was about, over 10 years ago. And my first time going there, it was really the first time in my life that I felt like I had returned home. And it was my first experience of feeling like I belonged without fully understanding what that meant. And over the years, I just kind of bumbled my way about, from doing work exchange at festivals to volunteering, eventually to becoming I've done stagehand on tour, venue managing, and eventually artist relations in the last few years for festivals like Crossfest in San Diego. I've done Lucidity and Sonic Bloom in Colorado. So yeah, it's kind of been an ongoing journey that does not have any one defined shape, to say in the very least.
So you start off your path reaching for the stars, like science, right? Computer science. And then from there, you end up working with stars. So it was definitely a little bit of a different transition. So maybe you can share a little bit, because I know your trajectory in education, or with your education, was in a different field. Were you able to transition any of those skills that you learned with your schooling?
I think especially so, right? Now, in the application of transference of any knowledge I had attained, it was really tapping into noticing repetitious themes or patterns. And so what I learned would come to be a roundabout gift in the realm of live events and working with artists is being able to organize and come from a place of having an analytical mind, which over the years, initially, I didn't know this would have fallen within operations and production, but because of the organizing and being able to synthesize information and to create kind of an information flow chart, if you would, that allowed me to cross-apply that kind of knowledge and experience of me running medical centers into events, and also working with a variety of personalities, as you can imagine, in mental health and then events. So, yes, definitely got to draw on a little bit of A and a little bit of B through the process.
Yes. Was there some specific moments that you faced, in your career crossroads that, I know we have positive influences and negative influences and things that turn us off to stuff. Is there something that you can share that kind of really helped shape who you were becoming at that time?
I think for me, one of the biggest things, because this really is an easy industry to burn out in, if you don't learn, to find yourself solid mentors, you don't also learn to take your own self-inventory and learn what your social battery is like, how your pacing works, so you can really be sustainable. And I think for me in that transition, the one thing that's allowed me to even stay in the game, so to speak, for this long is really staying grounded in that place of clarity on what your conviction is and what your own personal mission statement is with why you keep showing up. Because of course, the industry loosely is called entertainment, sure. But for me anyhow, and much of the older heads I've worked with over the years, what keeps us coming back, and some of it is grueling labor, 14, 15-hour days. You're on set, you're Mickey Mousing things, the elements come in, you're dealing with everything. And honestly, if you really don't have that clear conviction inside, it's hard to consistently keep showing up without burning out. And so for me, going back to that original experience that I had at, 20 or whatever, it was that feeling again of finally having that homecoming, that sense of coming home. So for me, my personal mission statement that I've always held on to and get recentered in is that my biggest intention and goal in coming through and facilitating live events and festivals is to facilitate for other people that sense of community and belonging that I first experienced. Sure, there's entertainment, sure, there's surface level distraction. But for me and a lot of the people I've known that have stayed in this for these many years, nearly every year that festival is like a family reunion. It's almost like a homecoming to some degree. And that's what I love about it, the lack of pretentiousness and just the eagerness and the love that's really abundant, where everyone really is excited to share knowledge and to share skills and to encourage each other. Because at the end of the day, really all festivals are pretty much impossible if there's not that strong sense of community there. If you think about it, that's really what you're doing. You're setting up a mini town for the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it truly does take a village, and there are long days, and there are a bunch of characters and individuals, and everyone has their motivations and their intentions, and everyone's trying to get it done and completed and enjoy it at the same time. Over the years, I'm sure you've had the opportunity to work with people that have come and gone, and people that have stayed, and those are part of your family and extended family. Is there any mentor specifically that you have that you can remember or think of that maybe really keeps helping you push through when you're feeling let down with the industry or with your day?
Absolutely. I'm a firm proponent, not just one, have a strong rotation of mentors. And if not mentors, have your strong rotation of accountability buddies. I promise you, I don't care what department within the industry you get into, you will inevitably have to borrow each other's courage and determination and commitment sometimes to get through it. Because on one hand, you might have that revolving door, the back-to-back circuits and festivals. You might also have the span of times where it seems like, did I make a mistake in what I chose? What's coming together right now? What was this all for? What did I lie to myself? You're going to have those moments. And that's when, especially then, when it's imperative to have those people from your club, from that community, again, to just lend you some of their courage and their faith when you might be low on yours, 100%. Even if I'm not personally producing events, my thing I like to do, just to kind of make sure I'm recharging that battery, is always showing up to my local community events. So I always pop up into open mics. Myself and some of my staff over the years from festivals and events will throw local arts in the parks within our local parks and communities. I just had another beach. It was kind of like a 420 music related event I co-produced in Long Beach a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. We set up a flow art station for the kids with the hula hoops and the fans, and we had the little music going, and just really staying in the heart of it and what it's all about. And again, for me, that's going back to community.
I love it. And I like how you shared, I think you said like a revolving door of mentors, just kind of having that bullpen of individuals that you can work with and grow from, and not just sticking to one person or one idea. I think that's really great. We do have a lot of people that are here with us today that I know are also looking to find mentors and to, network more. Do you have some advice for people entering this field in networking advice that you can share?
Yeah, I would say, of course, if your schedule can allow, and I tell, any people that may come to me for consultations or just, a little rapping back and forth. I am a firm proponent and believer in getting in where you fit in, just showing up to volunteer, even if not about local community events. But for me personally, in my journey over the years, treating my volunteer jobs as if it was my business trip was always the most exponentially paying off experience I could have ever had, because it wasn't per se just coming from an opportunistic perspective of what managers can I go and learn their names and introduce myself to. But when you come there with this sense of purpose and you're locked in on that focus and direction of what you're trying to do, not just meeting someone and pretending that you like them just because they seem like a manager, but when you are really showing up properly, treating it like that is that paid job, and you're really there and grounded, naturally the other people on that wavelength can't help but notice and connect with you. And for me in my journey, that's always what's most organically happened and presented itself more times than I can even count. So that would be my biggest thing, is just showing up, not being afraid to find local volunteer opportunities within whatever artistic community you have. For me, over the years now, I volunteered with Doheny Blues Festival. I think last time maybe I was just doing some bar backing stuff. I've done art promotion with Powwow Long Beach. It's for muralists and artists, sawdust painters, music. So just keeping that healthy rotation of artists and not letting yourself get pigeonholed into only seeing art as a specific type of medium. Because more often than not, it always cross-references, maintaining that symbiosis and that form of creativity.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right. I think getting out there, being present in the activities, volunteering, all of that is impactful in how to network. Networking is important. Enjoying festivals, enjoying concerts. As you said before, it's like a family. But at the end of the day, it is also work. Mm-hmm. So how do you balance work and life, since sometimes it can be a little blurry because it's enjoyable to your soul, right, to your core? Mm-hmm. So how do you not burn out?
Oh, yes. I was just talking about this subject the other day. So when I was managing my venues, I was managing 5 venues in downtown LA for a few years. And it took me even longer than ever any job I've had, never mind in the realm of shows and events, let's say, to recognize my symptoms of burnout when I was managing those venues. And I remember saying to some of my friends I was talking to about it is, this is my first time experience. Like, it took me so long to recognize I was having symptoms of burnout, because it was the first time really I was working a job I loved. I loved what I was doing. So it didn't register to me that these are symptoms of, okay, I need to have that rest. And so to answer that question, going back to it, is to treat your self-care, but more importantly, taking that time to learn what those items are in your self-inventory. So what I mean by that is taking the time to learn how your social battery operates, how much of interaction is too much for when you're drained, how it is your sleep schedule work. Again, in production, crazy hours. You're going to have to come up with some creative things, right? So for me personally, maybe my mind and my emotions are very strong-willed, but then I have to remind myself I'm limited in this flesh suit. So for me over the years, I have to take note of maybe soreness within the hips and the back. And okay, it's time to take a seat. Can you learn to delegate? Can I get better at communicating so I can ask for support and help from my different cohorts and my other peers, being aware of having that freedom to be able to move around and change the scenery. That's one of the beautiful things about live events, and being able to kind of slide in and out of the various departments once you've been doing it long enough and you're on the ground. So my personal advice, I guess, in summary, would be to really take that time, that quiet time with yourself, to really look inward and learn what your triggers are, learn what your low battery looks like for you, learn how to communicate that. And I mean, even if it wasn't just in live events, sure, these would all apply, but especially in live events, learn to do that. Because I promise you, in production, we won't judge each other. We've all done the 14, 15-hour days. We've all looked at each other and said, hey, my friend, I'm down to my last 2 brain cells. So, we'll make it happen, but we understand. So communicate, and do not be afraid to reach out to your peers, and don't be ashamed to acknowledge and recognize when your battery is starting to get low.
I think that is solid advice. And you mentioned something actually that I thought is also very dynamic. In business, in work, with experience, there's a lot of lateral moves and a lot of moves up and down. As you just recently mentioned, you talked about working within different departments. There are many facets in production, venues, etc. You have had the opportunity and the longevity to be in many of those facets.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share a little bit about how those different departments, different aspects of responsibility have all, led to what you're doing now?
Yeah, 100%. So when I first started out, my joke is always pretty much just coming straight out of the mud. Like I said, we had yarn for wristbands way back when, right? So at that time, without anything being too official, right, what I learned from that experience and it just being us, rough and tumbling people out in the desert slapping stuff together is, wow, okay, really good with communication and organizing dynamics in the most basic sense. Maybe we didn't have titles, maybe we didn't have departments yet, but in the most basic sense, we had that going for us.
Yeah.
And so a little bit after that, over the years and working in for a little bit even, I worked on private yacht charter events, right? So learning the form and the order of working alongside event coordinators. So from there, in terms of that paperwork and that dynamic, I got to learn what a timetable and a time flow is like. I got to learn about vendors loading in and loading out, getting to learn the nuances of catering and the dynamics with people. And after that, even when you're not working, let's say you're attending events, just taking the time to observe the flow of the crowd and the people around you, right? To be able to get to know and genuinely want to interact with the people around you. And before you know it, you're starting to meet different artists. And this is kind of how I eventually stumbled into the AR thing too. Is over time of doing enough festivals and events, beautiful things like lucidity and many of these festivals is that people aren't pretentious and presumptuous, meaning that you literally can be in the crowd shoulder to shoulder with a variety of DJs, live painters, artists. You never know who you're standing beside, and you become friends over that and learn about all of these shared interests. And again, going back to what I said before, is because there's this lack of pretentiousness, people genuinely are excited to collaborate and just go, hey, what do you have going on over there? Well, here's what I got going on. I like maybe we could add a few of these things and just see what happens with it. And more often than not, if that doesn't birth events, maybe it birthed an art installation at a thing. Maybe it birthed the gallery that came to be. Maybe it birthed that art collective that's, its own caravan and pops up at 20 different festivals. But I'd really say being able to come in with that refresh and those fresh eyes, even after you think you learned a department, that's great. Get the essence of the themes, whether it's organization, communication, and honestly, disregard the rest. Get comfortable with not knowing anything. That's honestly the only way I've stumbled my way into so many different departments is I recognized what I learned to acknowledge as a superpower being that I have no shame and I'm not afraid to not know something. No shame in it, no clue. One of my favorite things to tell people is, I have no idea. That's a great question. We'll figure that out. And there's no shame in it. And, I wish more people did it, but there's really not. That's one of the most powerful things that you can apply and walk with in life.
Yeah, just hearing you speak, I think that when you take on in a controlled environment, when you're taking on new responsibilities or different responsibilities than you may have imagined you were doing, I think that you find yourself or can find yourself outside of your comfort zone. So when I'm hearing you speak about being outside of your comfort zone, you're also doing it in a community where it isn't pretentious, where you're able to be okay with not knowing and learning and growing. And it tends to be a lending hand available to you as well. I think that's awesome. If you could give one piece of career advice to your younger self, what would that be?
No. All right. You can never regret anything that you do. You will only regret the things you do not do. You will never regret anything you do, only the things you don't. That would probably be my bit of advice I would give to myself.
I like it. I know for myself, I can still, as much as I think about great moments and snapshots of my past personal or professional life, I do feel and remember the moments I kick myself for not taking that chance, for not taking that opportunity. Yeah, I think
it's a fine line and a balance too, right? Because at the same time, and sometimes in theory, maybe we do feel like, it kind of slipped through our fingers like sand, but at the same, and guess what? You know what? I probably did that a few times. And ultimately at the same time too, living in this world of dualities, you can't miss what's for you. You really can't. If you're staying grounded and in alignment with your sense of purpose, and guess what? You don't have to know the destination. Just get clear on your direction. You don't have to know the destination though. I promise you, you will not miss it. I promise you. It might not come in the shape you imagined, but you won't miss it.
I like that too. I'd agree. So industry insights. What are some emerging trends? This live music performances, festivals has been growing. And with growth comes awareness. And with awareness comes development. What are some of these trends that we're seeing developing now in the industry? And what should we be aware of? And maybe even looking at it specifically from a career standpoint.
I think that emerging trends that I think are really going to come out and stand out within events is kind of touching back on what I lightly alluded to and how traditionally our industry is loosely called entertainment, right? But what I see emerging more and more, let's say to the masses, if you will, is this growing and increasing desire where to just be surface entertained is no longer sufficient for people. And my experience and what I've been observing has been this growing desire for people to experience some degree of expansion, some degree of participation. I've been noticing that as well, where many attendees and guests, they don't just want to consume, they would also like to participate and to give something back. So I guess this degree of symbiosis that's really starting to develop, right? Where people also want to be a part of the thing that they're attending. They don't want to partake, they also want to replenish too in some way. And so as this is growing, in my opinion, I think that more trends that are finally starting to ripple down are kind of more localized, community-based events. So for instance, let's say we have our main hub of meeting up at like a lucidity, and then throughout the remainder of the year in cities all across the country, there's little afterglow events, right? So oftentimes it's hosted by various people or staff from the festival, but then they're facilitating it within their communities. And I've been seeing more and more of these hubs popping up in so many different cities with so many different circles. So I would say that outside of the events, but within the events, emerging trends I've personally observed has been the growing interest and desire for the attendees and the guests to be participants, active participants.
Right, being more interactive, being able to give back as well as being a part of and taking from.
Right. And I mean, you see all these, experiential events. That's what they're calling them now, right? So we see all of these flowing in front of us as we speak. And at first I'm thinking, what the hell does that even mean? But I get it now.
And these emerging trends and these emerging, I guess, what the fans and what people are looking for, it has that more communal feel. And you're right. I think it is localized to their area and what that looks like. How important is it to embrace these changes? How important is it to look at these local trends or the trends that are happening statewide and beyond?
I mean, in my personal opinion, any of the festivals that are worth their weight are oftentimes the ones carried by the participants and the staffs, because it's the people who come together that make the event. And there's some festivals and productions that have gone so far off the deep end in commercial. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure we all kind of have a loose idea. Okay, so they've gone off the deep end. There's no soul. There's no spirit to it. They do lots of fireworks and lights and big stages, and you pay for, with your arm and your leg for a bottle of water, whatever. Okay, so you have those. And then you have the other ones where it's like, hey, listen, low-key, if we didn't officially have this huge umbrella of the festival and the event, we know that we're the ones who make it. We know that we're the ones who come together and create these camps, and we create and we offer these workshops, and we want to offer our gifts. We want to offer our joys and the things that make us happy. And so in my experience, the events and festivals that have been the deepest, being impactful, but not just that, the most enduring, typically comes from those that are fortified from the inside out. And really, it truly is more of the participants that make the thing, and the umbrella of the festival just happens to be the facilitating, the date and the spot. You know what I mean? But really, it's the people that make the thing. And I don't know for you, Adrian, if back in the day you've ever seen like the rainbow gatherings, those old school festivals where it always moves every year, and damn well it's the people that make that thing that come out the bushes and the woodworks to wherever we say we're meeting and greeting, and they come and they make it what it is.
Oh yeah, those are some of the best days, and it does come down to listening, being, like I think you said in the beginning, being an active participant in communication, and really listening to what the people are looking for, and listening to what they're wanting to find for their soul, or for escape, or for the hour. It's super important. So you've had a long career. You've got miles and miles to go, but I am certain that there are a few moments that really stand out that are your proudest achievements. If you can share maybe a little bit about, through this journey you've been on, what has been one of those achievements within your career that you are just so beside yourself about.
Oh, man. See, for me and my Candice head, I know why I'm beside myself, and it might not always match up to what the external world sees on paper. I think my first big I was proud of me moment was when I was offered the job to be the exterior operations manager for Sonic Bloom in Colorado. And I had been to Colorado maybe a few times before that, attended a few shows at Red Rocks, but never really a festival type thing. And so never mind having received the offer, that's not why I was so proud of myself. Why I was proud of myself is because I went ahead and I bought myself that plane ticket. I packed my bag, got on the plane, and I, up until that point, could not recall the last time I'd ever traveled on my own except some festival job in some state I had never attended, didn't know anyone from Adam. I'm getting off the plane, and I was given some contacts of allegedly who my coworkers were to meet up with some guy in a truck at the port, outside of the airport, and we're all carpooling 3 hours to go to this ranch, and I'm trusting that I'm going to be given my tent that I'm living in for the next 3 weeks. And just totally that whole, how they say, let go and go with God type thing, just casting it to the wind. And don't get me wrong, I had a few days out there where I was kind of being run a little bit ragged. I really did consider a few times thinking, I've never really hitchhiked like this in another state, but, I had a few of those moments, and proud of myself, not just for overcoming that fear of having that internalized self-doubt and really confronting all of those feelings of, can I do this? I don't know if I can. Ooh, it kind of scares me to go by myself. Oh, I don't know these people. And to just show up, because at the end of the day, I might not know them, but what I learned and reaffirmed is that I knew myself. And in any career, but especially this one, that's imperative. I remember sitting at FestForm, I sat in one of those student, side panel things. And one of the things that I've always held true for myself, that I regularly remind myself of, is to get comfortable with letting people be wrong about you. Make your peace, let go of the feeling and the need to prove or disprove people right or wrong. You know how you got there. You know your work ethic. You know your intelligence and your abilities to assess and put things together. And at the end of the day, in live events and festivals, the end of the day, it's pretty much improv. That's really all it is. Get good at being on your toes. Get good at improv. You're going to encounter a few situations you haven't seen before, but I promise you, someone beside you over the years, they've encountered something close to it. Together, we'll piece together our brain cells and we'll figure it out. It's really just improv at the end of the day.
Love it. I love it. You're right. One more question, and then we'll open it up to everyone here to do a little Q&A as well. To wrap it up, could you summarize your career philosophy or mantra that has really guided you throughout your professional life?
Oh boy. Oh yes. Okay, I got one for you. I am exactly where I need to be when I need to be there.
I love it.
That's it. I am where I need to be when I need to be there. And stand on it, kneel on it, sleep on it, wake to it. I promise you.
Right. What is that saying when preparation meets opportunity?
That's motivation, right? Or motivation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something, two rights don't equal a wrong. I don't know, but you're spot on. You are exactly where you should be and need to be. I appreciate that a lot. Candice, you have been amazing. As you mentioned earlier, we did meet at Fest Forum, which was fairly recent. You were part of the panel there. You were impactful then. You are impactful now. With that, thank you. I will go ahead and open it up. I do see a couple hands raised. I believe I saw Corey's hand up first. And please forgive me if I go out of order. I only do it because I'm not certain. But Corgs, please, if you may.
Okay, so yeah, by the way, I performed at a So Far show, like I think 6-7 years ago in Phoenix, when I used to be involved with the band that also played it alongside Aton as well. Like it is a story. It's like, but yeah, my question is, if there could be like one piece of technology that like, if you could just make it appear out of thin air that you think would improve the show for like the artists and the audience, what would it be? It doesn't exist.
Oh my God, probably some kind of auto equalizer and tuning in for sound checks or something like a naturally just sync, between lighting and the DJ AV audio techs. I just always feel for them every time we've ever done a show. If there's something that could just cohesively streamline overarching.
Yeah, you just reminded me.
But
sorry, I thought you were done. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What's that?
No, I'm saying, no, you just reminded me how brutal it is for people to mix my viola in shows. Most of them can't do it.
Oh yeah. You'd be amazed. I mean, it's even shows I'm not working. There's times where I cringe if I see somebody throw the mic or just, you'd be amazed between that, the syncing with the fog machines, the lights, the tags, and then, and that's even if somebody behind the DJ booth marked everything safely and it's dark as hell and you're trying to get over cables to get to your deck in your booth. I mean, take your pick. But I would definitely say, from an AV tech perspective, if there's something that can overarch and help like kind of give a baseline auto syncing for a sound check, that would be beautiful.
Presley, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. First of all, Candice, it's nice to meet you, and I would like to ask you a question. When I was reading your introduction, I just realized that you had an experience working with Disney. Tell me what that is like.
Yeah, it was really fun, actually. When I worked with Disney, we had a few film premiere releases. This is shortly sometime after they had acquired National Geographic, so a few documentary releases and a few live music releases internally. And I really enjoyed my time working with the executives and being able to be support and also, co-peer, working in tandem. They're great people. There's definitely been some changes, as I'm sure you're well aware, with them absorbing nearly anyone and everything production-wise in this day and age. But yeah, it was a great experience, maybe I'm a little biased because the people, I'd worked with was Disney, but also initially was Nat Geo. Yeah, they were great. They were great. Very awesome people.
Nice. Matthew Paul.
Hello, Candice.
Hi, Matthew.
So, first, just a quick comment. I really like what you said about be comfortable with people being wrong about you. That's something that great life advice in general. But what would be your number one piece of advice for working on a production? Just any production.
I would say make sure that you have at least a nice solid half-gallon bottle of these with you, okay? You're going to go through probably at least 2 of these. Eventually, you're going to drink 2 of these and not even think twice about it, even when you're not working. So that's step 1.
Wow.
The next thing I would say is in terms of your shoe wear, do not play around. Don't get cheap. Don't be afraid to wear the boots. Look into moleskin. That's how you prevent chafing on your feet. And invest in your care packages. Because if you're saying, let me ask you this, what kind of production are you interested in? Like what aspect of production would you say? A/B tech? Are you looking like more of like what?
More of a camera operator or sound, lights.
Oh, my friend. Okay, my brother. Let me tell you. Camera operator. So I just this last year, actually, it's with my Steadicam guys and everything. We did the Olivia Rodrigo live stream release of her vampire music video just a couple months ago. And when I tell you that your body doing cam ops and everything, right? You need the longevity within your body to be able to do what you're doing, all the odd angles and the carrying. Self-care bag, duffel bag. Don't get short on the physical therapy and taking care of yourself in that regard because it will wear on you. That's the first thing I'm going to say. The next thing as well is to also make sure that you get plugged in with your local, like, let's say cam ops community. I know there's a lot of communities for videographers, photographers, and what have you. And I would say to find your local community, get plugged in with them because you are going to be each other's best resources with all of your editing programs that you use, with all of your projects that you're looking into. That's really imperative that you get plugged in with your local cam ops, videographer, photographer groups, because that will be one of your best resources.
Thank you.
Oh, also don't be afraid to be the 10-minute man. That's what we call it on site. So low key, there's occasionally times in production jobs, they might ask you to do something or get something. You don't know what it is. No problem. Give me about 10 minutes and I'll figure it out. Do not be afraid to be the 10-minute man. No one knows everything. So don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Be the 10-minute man. That's fine. We've all been that guy.
That's new.
Solid advice.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Comfortable shoes and be ready to do anything within a 10-minute window.
Or just go learn, you have the ability. You could be a fast learner. No problem. We'll figure it out.
That's right. That's right.
Hustle. We'll work it. We'll figure it out.
We'll get it done. Daniel.
Thank you.
Looks like
I don't know if this is a question you already asked, but what do you see yourself doing in the next couple of years?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, come on now. I feel like that's a question we have to ask ourselves damn near every other day sometimes. In a couple of years, I've actually had many irons in the fire, so I got a few things in the works. I'm looking to go ahead and publish a couple of manuscripts I've been sitting on book-wise. I write poetry and what have you, and I also collaborate with some musicians if they're ever interested in lyrics, whatever, maybe. On the other hand, I'm also in the works of wanting to launch a few localized production shows outside of so far, and some markets and areas that are lacking shows in an artistic presence. So, for instance, there's many pockets of the Long Beach crazy wild artists, but there's next to no existing circuit and pockets for them to be able to come together. So I'd like to facilitate that. And down the road, I'm also been in the works and wanting to launch and facilitate like a creatives collective type of, if not retreat, maybe like a B&B type collective thing. So I got a few irons in the fire. My personal mantra and belief, maybe it's just for myself since I always like to have many tabs open, it seems. But my joke is always many energies needs many outlets. So I try to maintain a healthy rotation, which also minimizes my likelihood of burnout for me. That's not for everyone, but for me, the healthy rotation is what prevents me from burning out quickly.
Yes, some people need 32 hours in their day. And some people just need to work to manage their days better. And you're right, Candice. When you do have a lot of energies, then you do have to balance that with getting that all out too, getting your wiggles out, however you do it. And it does take work. And it looks like you're doing it with grace. Is there anyone else that would like to ask Candice a question? I do see one hand up.
Hi, my name's Vincent. Did you just say you worked on a? Did you say you worked with Olivia Rodrigo or something like that? What did you say?
Yeah. I worked with Olivia. We did the YouTube live stream of her vampire release.
Oh, YouTube live stream. My sister is a huge fan of Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, did she go? We did have some guests on site. It was hosted at the Hangar in Los Angeles. This was a couple months ago. So there was there were some guests in attendance. Some fans were there.
She didn't go, but she's actually at home and she was actually very excited. She really wanted to ask you how you worked with Olivia, what you did with Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah. Well, my job in production, I worked with her briefly and, just getting her directed through the grounds and everything. But on the back end, I was working between the video village, the cam ops, and production. So I made sure that our Steadicam guy, if you're not familiar with what that is, that's the guy that has a camera literally rigged to his body. So if you're ever watching live footage and you see let's say, in this case, Olivia's walking towards you. You're watching on, let's say, YouTube, and you see her walking towards you. Well, I'm behind the camera guy in her face, making sure that his path is cleared. We're getting through. We're following whatever we rehearse. And on the back end, I'm also on the comms, and I'm listening to Video Village in case if we need to switch cameras and, change our live cut feeds, things like that.
Okay. That's very interesting. Sydney, I finally found out what she did. Please come. My sister's a huge Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Funny enough, I had a few friends, I think from high school, they saw my Instagram, I had a picture up, and they're like, oh my God, I was there. I was like, oh, okay.
Say hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is my sister, Sydney.
Hi, Cindy. How you doing?
Sydney, she worked on the YouTube stream with Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, that's very cool. Nice.
Yeah, she's really sweet, definitely. Funny enough, she's a little bit shy. We had a few fans on site, but it was great,
Oh, that's so cool to know.
Yeah, it was over in LA at the Hangar. So one of YouTube owns kind of almost like an airplane hangar type thing,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, Google purchased them the last few years. They've acquired them. So, those mega production corporate peeps.
It's really cool to know. Wow.
Yeah, glad to meet fans though. I was a little late to her party for sure, but it's been so fun meeting all these fans and the youth. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what you guys are about. I love it. It's great.
A good energy.
Yeah, I definitely felt like when I saw the fans waiting outside for the vampire release, I was brought back to I'd say 2008, 2009 Twilight days. You remember when that one came out? When I saw all those fans outside for that music video, I was like, wow, flashbacks.
Isn't that where we had to pick a team Jack or I don't
Jacob
know.
and Edward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Presley
Yeah.
remembers.
Yeah, I remember there was a huge Twilight fever, like before. I mean, like next to Harry Potter, there was like Twilight. Girls would go crazy on it.
Everyone went crazy for Twilight. And with that, Candice, truly appreciate your energy, your time, everything you have shared. Everyone for being on this call, thank you so much. From Yes I Can and Breaking the Biz, we appreciate you, and we hope everyone has a great night.
As we conclude another enriching episode, we hope you found inspiration in the stories shared today. Let's take a moment to honor Yes I Can's role in bringing Breaking the Biz to life. Yes I Can's commitment to empowering young people with disabilities through education, advocacy, and mentorship shines brightly, paving paths of opportunity and dialogue. This podcast celebrates the organization's dedication to nurturing talent and facilitating impactful discussions. Breaking the Biz is more than a podcast. It's a part of Yes I Can's broader mission to amplify voices, dismantle barriers, and craft a world that's more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Each episode is a chapter in our shared narrative of progress, education, and empowerment, driven by the spirit of Yes I Can. Thank you for spending your time with us on Breaking the Biz. Continue to challenge the status quo and share stories that resonate. Until our paths cross again, let's keep transforming aspirations into achievements and infuse every endeavor with optimism. Here's to advancing the landscape of the entertainment industry, one episode at a time. I'm your host, William Felber. See you next time.